The only way to trade that gives the little guy big profits in small accounts in 1 week with low risk in any market conditions, good, bad, or otherwise. Hi guys, this is Jack Carter. Thank you for attending this webinar. First things first, please shut down all of the programs on your computer. And please, no multitasking during the webinar. Mute your cell phone because I have important information for you that you can use immediately. So don't let anything or anyone distract you or disturb you while this webinar is going on. So what we'll do is we'll have an introduction, which is what we're doing now. Then I'll go over the content. Then we'll have a question and answer session. And then we'll have a little wrap up. Plus, I have a free bonus for you. If you stay with us to the end of the webinar, you'll get a pretty amazing free bonus just for staying on. So let's get started. The stock market has been more volatile than any time in recent history. Yet, despite this market volatility and these uncertain economic times, a small group of traders is quietly raking in millions of dollars from the stock market. And the crazy part is, they do it every week. Here's what it's all about. The CBOE created a new easy-to-trade option called weekly options. Weekly options are like regular options, but weekly options expire every week. With weekly options, you can potentially make 2%, 5%, 8%, 15% or more every week on one weekly trade. You can do as many of these simple weekly trades as you want to create weekly income or a huge retirement account or both. You can trade weekly options with small accounts or large. You can trade with just $3,000 to get started or $100,000 or $1 million or more. Best part is you get paid every Friday. Plus, it's proven you can double your returns even with some of the option strategies you use now. So before we go on, you might be asking yourself, if this weekly option stuff is so hot, why haven't I heard about it before? And that's a great question. And the reason is weekly options trading strategies didn't work very well before now. They didn't work before now because of two reasons. Reason one, there was simply not enough trading volume in weekly options to make it worth your while. However, in the last 11 months, weekly options trading volume has skyrocketed now in 2012 to the point that there are always great weekly options trades to make and plenty of liquidity. So here's a little chart for you. It's from the CBOE, and it shows you the dramatic increase we saw through July, which is the last available chart they had, through July of 2011. But like I say, now in 2012, it's even jumped more, and this daily volume gives you a big edge in liquidity. The second reason was there were not enough stocks with available weekly options to make money in any market conditions. And this is a real key point. There was just not enough stocks. Now, with the way it is now, you can find a lot more stocks regardless of market conditions. So like I say, in 2012, it's at the point where the volume has skyrocketed, which gives you better liquidity, plus the list of stocks with available weekly options has expanded dramatically and could continue to do so this year. And this fact gives you another huge advantage. I'll tell you more about these remarkable trading discoveries in a minute, but first I want to tell you a secret about myself. My name is Jack Carter. So who am I and why should you listen to me? I have over 25 years and close to $1 billion in trading experience. I was trained at the World Trade Center in 1985, and I traded throughout the largest up and down market in history. Over $8 million of stock in one day was my record as a day trader. In my career, I've been a stockbroker, a NASDAQ market maker, a professional day trader, and a fast money hedge fund manager. But most importantly, I've successfully taught traders from 43 countries to make profit-rich trades. Now, I'm not telling you this to impress you, rather to impress upon you that this is 100% real, not some hypothetical stuff some guy made up but never put any real money on. And now I've discovered what I believe is the biggest trading advantage for the little guy since the invention of the internet. And that's a big statement, but when you see this unfold, you'll know why. Let me tell you how the overall options market plays out and why this system works so well. Options are a tool used by professional traders as a hedge against a current position. This hedge is mostly for protection. Professional money managers and professional traders and institutions like large pensions, they use these kinds of hedges. In fact, this is the group that all options were initially designed for. However, over 75% of all the stock market activity, that's stock trading and options, is now done by institutions. And in the options market, these institutions buy put and call options as a hedge. However, because there's so much leverage in options, huge returns with very little investment, lots of average traders or speculators take their shot at them. They simply get hooked by the thought of hitting the stock market jackpot. But the hardcore reality is, most average traders don't hit the jackpot or anything even remotely close. In fact, they lose untold millions to the small percentage of insiders who know the secrets to trading options for maximum gains with minimum risks. And it's not the average investor's fault. Not at all. Why? Because like many things in business and life, the game is hopelessly rigged in the professional's favor. Before I go on, let me share a quick story with you. I love teaching from experience, even when I get my ass kicked. And that's how it was with my very first option trade in November 1985 when I was a financially broke and desperate rookie stockbroker with Dean Witter. Myself and another idiot went halves on buying some December calls on a stock he researched, studied, and thought was a sure bet. We bought the call options anticipating the stock to go up and the value of the option to skyrocket right along with it. I was so sure of this trade that I invested money I would need for an airline ticket to go back home to be with my dad back in Indiana for the holidays. The result? 3 weeks of pain and all the money gone. Over the next 3 weeks, I watched the stock stay at about the same price it was when we bought the call options. Yet the call options price declined a little bit almost every day. Even on days the stock did go up, the call option barely moved at all. And the closer it got to expiration, its value melted like an ice cube on a hot summer sidewalk. Until it was worse than worthless. It was worse than worthless because the commission to sell it cost more than the options were worth. This is back when one option trade might cost $100. But I learned some valuable lessons in this trade, and lessons that I've profited from over the last 25 years, and lessons that you can profit from too. First is, never invest or trade more than you can afford to lose, because anything can and will happen in the stock market, and options are risky. Now, here's the second thing. The time decay of options erodes their value enormously the closer they get to expiration. So you want this time decay factor working for you, not against you. You want to put time decay on your side. So I lost for the same reason most option traders lose. I bought an option, I held on to it till it was worthless. And now research proves that 77% of all options expire worthless. So here's a fact for you. Options buyers lose money more often than options sellers. Why? Because time decay makes 77% of all options expire worthless. And the number one reason option buyers lose money is because they run out of time. And almost exactly 14 years after my first option trade, the irony of that loss was driven home again. While talking to a former boss of mine about one of his trader friends, he asked me if I could meet them for lunch. And after learning that it was his options guy, I said, of course. We'll pick you up out in front of your building, he says. How will I find you? I ask him. My friend Mike only travels in a limousine, so look for us in his big-ass limo, he says. Now, I say to him, what kind of trading does this guy do that he only rides around in a limo? My friend makes millions selling options on the floor of the CBOE, he tells me. So I laughed to myself as I thought about how naive I was when I bought that worthless option on my first option trade, and how me and countless others allowed this guy to rake in millions of dollars and put his son through college and pay for his limo, all on our back. And we did it all by buying options from this guy and holding them until they expired worthless, while he cracks up laughing all the way to the bank. Now it's your turn to profit. My weekly options trading system works because it's based on 3 simple core truths about options. Options truth number 1, 77% of all options expire worthless. Options truth number 2, options expire worthless because of time decay. Options truth number 3, time decay occurs most in the last week of options expiration. Now with weekly options, you can take advantage of this time decay every week like never before. I'll show you how I use them to create weekly income, and as I do, I want you to understand a fundamental difference in what I teach. What you'll learn here is based on selling weekly options to take advantage of time decay and putting the averages of probability on your side, and in rare instances, buying weekly calls or puts. So what you'll learn here is different from the mainstream options trading world for 3 reasons. 1, it's based on what works in the real world. This is what I do and can teach you to do. Second, the fact of the matter is options buyers lose most of the time. So that's what I said. I teach you to profit in the options market by selling options and putting time decay on your side. So when you position yourself like this, you put the odds of success in the options market dramatically in your favor, getting rich, reaping small, high probability winners over time, not trying to hit home runs with every trade, but using high probability trades and small percentages over time. That's the way it works. The third reason this is different from the mainstream options trading world is also the reason this system is so reliable and powerfully effective. Now, this is one thing I really, if you don't learn anything else from this, I want you to get this part, okay? It's the third reason why this is different, why it's reliable and powerfully effective. What I teach you about options trading is based on the underlying stock, okay? Every option investor who loses consistently is looking for option success by analyzing options. That does not work. It doesn't matter what option strategy you use. If you get the underlying stock pick wrong, the option strategy will fail. Get the stock picking part right, and you'll flat out kill it in the options market. That's why the core of what I teach you about options trading is based on the underlying stock, not the options. I know that sounds different from the way everybody else does it, but this is what works. Okay, let's recap the important principles and concepts. Then we'll look at how I use weekly options. 77% of all options expire worthless. Options expire worthless because of time decay. Time decay occurs most in the last week of options expiration. Options sellers make all the money in the options market. Weekly options allow you to make the most. Now, before I show you what I do, let me explain the difference between monthly options and weekly options. Monthly options are listed on almost every stock, all the New York Stock Exchange stocks. They're listed and traded for months and months out in time. You can buy and sell long-term options even. Weekly options come out every Thursday and expire 8 days later, the following Friday. So, for example, if you do covered calls or buy rights or credit spreads, then you have to wait 30, 45, 60, or 90 days to get paid when you're using any monthly option strategy. With these, you end up with your money tied up for a long time. And in this volatile market, that's very tough to do. Weekly options trades last about 7 days max. So your money is very liquid. And since options prices decay the most in the last week of options expiration, weekly options are a trader's dream come true, because what we see here is a rapid decay in price in the last week of any option. And so you'll see just with weekly options, they'll come out on Friday and there'll be much, much, much more time decay even that following Monday. Then as the week goes on, it gets even worse. So these weekly options are a trader's dream come true. So here's a huge advantage to weekly options over monthly options. In a covered call trade I did, the yield was great. Everything worked out perfect. It's your typical covered call. But when I compared the premium I got for selling a call, a monthly call that was 4 weeks out, when I compared that against the weekly options premium, I discovered I could double my yield by selling the weekly calls rather than the monthly calls. That's right, double my yield. So the way it works is, rather than doing one monthly option trade at the beginning of the month for the following month, if you did 4 weekly covered calls with the exact same stock, you'd end up doubling your money. It's pretty dramatic, and I was stunned when I saw this, and that was really what prompted me to get into this weekly options program. 200% more by selling weekly calls rather than monthly calls on the same stock in 1 month. Pretty amazing. That's a little known fact about weekly options. So with weekly options, obviously, you make more money and you get paid weekly. Here's something else that gives you a huge advantage. The stock does not have to go up in price for you to profit with my system. So even if you're a terrible stock picker, you can still do great this way. You see, after you buy any stock, only 3 things can happen. The stock can only go up, stay the same, go down. That's it. Only those 3 things can happen. Those are the only 3 outcomes after you buy any stock. With my system, you don't need to pick stocks that go up. Now, they can go up, or they can stay flat or even go down by an amount you predetermine, because time decay will cause the options to expire worthless when you've got this stock pick part right. So with my trading system, you make money in 2 out of 3 possible scenarios, because like I say, only 3 things can happen. The stock can go up, go down, stay the same. With my system, if it goes up or stays the same, you profit. And like I say, if you set it up right, it can even go down a little and you can still profit. But generally speaking, 2 out of 3 possible outcomes, you're going to make money because you're using an option on a stock. And that right there adds to our probability. So like I say, even if you're a horrible stock picker, you can still profit with weekly options. The only time you need to make another decision is if you need to unwind the trade, in the case of a losing trade. So this strategy is perfect for the little guy. And I say that because the capital required on this trading example I'm going to show you was only $4,000. You can do this with as little as $3,000. And if you're trading a $100,000 account, you could potentially make $8,000 a week with this. And unlike regular investing, like I say, the stock doesn't have to go up. It just had to stay about the same price for 1 week. Stay flat, go up a little, or even go down a little. So there is no other trading strategy on the planet that gives the little guy these many advantages. I don't know of any other strategy where you can start with $3,000 and you can be a horrible stock picker and still make money weekly in the stock market. So this same strategy can be used on multi-million-dollar accounts. I know throughout the years I've picked up a lot of hedge fund followers and professional money managers and financial planners and registered investment advisors. And if you understand this and you like it and your client does, you can do this on a multi-million-dollar account. If you're trading your own account, I'm sure you're going to love it when you see it work. I even use my IRA. So there are a handful of strategies I use with weekly options. All except one are based on using weekly options to create weekly income. But the key to success with weekly option strategies, like with any other option strategy, is to pick the right underlying stock first. That is super key point. Write that down. Get that part right and you'll flat out kill it in the options market, especially with weekly options. Okay, now let me tell you about my main weekly cash producing strategy. What I'm doing is I'm selling a put option to bring in cash, and at the same time, I'm buying a lower strike priced put option to hedge. Okay? I'm selling a put to bring in cash, and at the same time, I'm buying a less expensive, lower strike priced put as a hedge. I'll get more for the put I sold than I'll spend to buy the lower strike price put, and the difference is called a net credit. So this is also referred to as a credit spread. Now, I'm going to walk you through the steps I use to do this with weekly options. First, understand not all stocks have weekly options available on them. And the ones that do have weekly options are not all good to trade. So don't go trying this just because a stock has weekly options listed. That doesn't mean it's good. Stay with me here and let me clarify this point a little bit. So the first step is to get the list of stocks that have weekly options available. By the way, in just a moment, I'll give you the latest available list to download and I'll keep it updated for you. Okay, so the first thing is to get the list of stocks that have weekly options on them, which, like I say, I'll give you that. Now, the key thing with being successful with options is being able to analyze the underlying stock, right? So now you got the list of stocks that have weekly options. Let's pick the list of cherries from this list and then look at the options. So what I do is I run every stock that has weekly options on it through my own criteria to determine the pre-existing trend on the stock. That's something you really want to write down. The pre-existing trend on the underlying stock is key. If that stock's pre-existing trend looks good, then and only then do I take a look at the stock's weekly options to see if there's a potential trade. This trend criteria can be anything you want that helps you identify the underlying stock's current trend, because the current trend of the underlying stock is the key thing. When you find a stock that is in a nicely rising trend and you can clearly see support, then picking the options become easier. Here, I'll show you. Here's how my charts are set up so that each time I type in a ticker symbol, I see the same set of indicators, and this lets me see if the stock is in a nice trend or not. So this is what mine looks like. You can set this up too with any kind of criteria you want, using technical analysis, anything you want that'll help you see the trend. So after I find an appropriate stock, I look at strike prices that are below the current stock's price and at a level that the stock is not likely to hit in the next week. So let's go back to my chart. What I'm doing is I find a stock that's in a nice trend, and this stock rarely, if ever, gets down here around these blue points. So this would up here be where the current market price is. This would be where the first level of support is. This would be where the second level of support is. So regardless of what price the stock is trading at right here, this wouldn't matter. I'm going to try to find my spread down in between here. Lower I can go, the better. That way, I have the probability that once this stock is in motion, it's going to tend to stay in motion. But also, its probability is that it's not going to drop down to these levels of support where we want to write these way out of the money puts. Then I go online after I find that and I look at the live weekly put option quotes. I'm looking for a spread between the two put options that have strike prices that are below the current stock's price and support levels. And I'm looking for a specific difference in the options prices to create a net income by getting more for the put I sold than the put I paid for. Okay, here's a real example. The capital required for this trade was only $4,000. The profit was $620 after commission. That's a 15% return, and it only took 1 week. I find a stock at a nice trend, then I show you how to sell a put and buy a lower strike price put to create a net credit. Watch me do it here now in the real world, okay? Pay attention to this. I'm going to show you a video I got that I made, and we're going to break it down step by step.
Hi everybody, this is Jack, and I want to show you a trade that I'd like to get into here before the market closes. As you can see, the date is July 15th, 2011. The time is 14:39 Eastern Time. Market's about to close, but before it does, I'd love to get into this trade that I'm going to show you here. The ticker symbol on the underlying stock is gold. It's GLD. It's the ETF that trades just like the price of gold. So this strategy that I'm showing you is a weekly option strategy. So rather than tying up your money for a whole month, we're just tying it up for a week at a time, and every Friday's payday. So I'm setting myself up for next week getting paid on this trade. Weekly options are great. You can do a lot of strategies with them. Just one of the strategies that I do here, I want to show you. This is going to pay off real nicely, and I'll show you how the math works out on this in 1 second. I just want to get into this quotes here and show you how this works before the market closes. So what I'm going to do is, the stock is at 155.07, $155.07. Let's call it 155 bucks. So if you look right here, we're looking at the calls and the puts. This side is the calls, this side is the puts. What I'm looking at doing is selling 10 of the gold 154 puts that expire on July 22nd, which is a week from today. So if I sell these here, I'll get about 86 cents. If I get them done before the market closes, I'll sell those at 86 cents. Then I'm going to turn around and buy the July 151s for around 23 cents. And we'll show you how that works out. I'm going to buy 10 of these as a hedge against the 10 that I sold. And I'll explain this to you here in a second, but this is live. Anybody can do this once you know the secret, and I'm telling you, this is the greatest invention since the invention of the internet, which allowed individual traders to bypass the broker and do it for themselves. This is the best thing since the invention of the internet and direct access trading. So I'm going to get into more on this. I just want to show you a live trade anybody can do in any market, regardless of market conditions. This is how to get paid every week.
Okay, so that video covers the entry of the weekly options trade. Just to recap, gold was in a nice trend. I found a spread below the current price of gold to sell one put and buy a lower strike price put as a hedge, and the difference was my net credit. So just in review here, I sold 10 weekly puts at 86 cents. So that created $860 in income. Then I bought 10 weekly puts at 23. That was $230 expense. So you got 860 minus 230 equals 630 net credit. Capital required actually here was only 3,000, not 4,000. That's a misprint. And the net credit was 630, so that's actually over a 15% return for 1 week. So that's what you do. When you get in, you're just making that one trade there. So now let's see what happened 1 week later.
Hi everybody, this is Jack, and I want to show you how my trade example from last week worked out. In my example, I showed you just one strategy that I used. This is a credit spread, and it worked out real nice. If you remember in that video, I showed you where I sold the July 22nd 154 puts. I sold those at 86 cents. They're now worthless. And to hedge this, I turned around and bought the July 151 put, and you can see that's now worthless. So as long as the stock stayed above my
higher strike price put, the one that I sold, was at 154, then this trade is going to work out perfectly. I'm going to get to keep all the money I made by selling this put. I subtract the money that I spent by buying my hedge, which was the July 151. And the difference between those, I get to keep all of that money if these options expire worthless. So again, the key to making this work, as with any option strategy, is the underlying stock. If you get the underlying stock pick right, the strategy is going to work for you 100% of the time. If you get this wrong, you're going to have a lot of mixed results. If you get it totally wrong, you won't have success with any option strategy, not just this one, but any one. But of all the option strategies that are out there, this weekly option strategy is by far the best because, for one thing, these options expire. The time decay is dramatic in the last week, and even really more dramatic in the last couple days. But the real difference is that if you did this once a month, whether it's the covered call, the credit spread, bulletproof strategy, whatever you use, you're going to make more than twice as much if you go with the weekly options rather than the monthly options. Because by being able to do this 4 times in 1 month as opposed to just once a month with regular options, you're going to make at least double, if not more than double, your income with the same strategy on a monthly option. If you use weeklies, you're going to make way more. So this one worked out great. You can do this every week. You can do this with different stocks. I'll show you everything you need in these strategies. I just wanted to show you, though, that the way I do it, you saw my example from July 15th. Today's July 22nd. Market closed 3 minutes ago, and this trade worked out perfect. So it's a good example of what I do with these weekly options. It's just one way that I trade. I've got a lot more stuff to show you, but I just want to show you that this really does work. It's no BS. Anybody can do it. You just saw my example here, live example, and I'm anxious to show you how to do this too, because it's the greatest thing for the individual investor since the invention of the internet. Weekly options are just fantastic. So stay tuned. I got lots more for you. Okay, by the way, if that were a $40,000 trade instead of a $4,000 trade, or a $30,000 trade instead of a $3,000 trade, your net credit would have been $6,300 for 1 week. So, that we're looking at $24,000 a month um, with that kind of trading capital. So you can do as many of these simple weekly options trades as you want to make thousands of dollars every week. You can do this every week, get paid every week, get a debit card from your broker and live on it. That's no joke. You can get a debit card from Schwab or E-Trade or any of these guys. Just use this weekly strategy, even if you're retired or semi-retired, and live on it through your Visa card attached to your brokerage account. It's very cool. So notice something really important here. When you trade stocks, after you get into the trade, you still have to make another decision at a later time to get out. That's basically 2 trades at 2 different times. And it's what happens in the middle that gets people messed up. What often happens is you buy a stock, then sell it, and right after you sell it, it starts going up and up and up. Or you buy it and it starts going down and it just keeps going down. So then you always have this second decision you have to make. Am I going to get out? Am I going to stay in? Am I going to sell? It just can be too overwhelming to trade with all those decisions like that. So as you already know, deciding when to get out can be very difficult, and it requires you to make another decision and pull the trigger on another trade. With my system, there's none of that. You simply enter with 2 trades at the same time when you create your spread, then do nothing. Simply let the options expire worthless. Your profit is the net credit, which is the difference between the price you receive for selling the higher priced put and the price you paid to buy the lower strike price put. So unlike most stock and options trading that requires 2 trades at 2 different times, we're making 1 credit spread and letting the options expire worthless a week later. This is way less stressful and requires much less decision making. We're getting into an option trade and letting the options expire worthless. That's it. Okay, let's see how my system could be used in an example where you had $3,000 to start with. And what would we do right now? Let's go through every step so you can put one of these together for yourself or use my help. Let's say you have $3,000 to invest in this and your goal is to make 5% on your first weekly options trade. Now, that'd give you, if you did that 4 times, you'd make 20% for the month. And if you want to annualize that any way you want, that's really killing it. But I think this 5% in 1 week, as crazy as it sounds, it can be pretty conservative. So what we do is we find a stock that has weekly options available on it and is in an appropriate trend. Now, I'm going to send you the list or give you the list here. I'm not sure how we have that set up, but I'm going to give you this list here of stocks that have available weekly options. So then what we do is we'd run that list of stocks through whatever trend criteria to have. So you come up with a short list of stocks that are in rising trends, which would be the appropriate trend in this case. Then what we do is we choose a weekly put to sell to bring in income. And at the same time, we'd buy a put whose strike price is $3 lower than the put you sold. So the way you determine how much money you need to put up is just the difference in strike prices. That's why you can even use this strategy to trade expensive stocks like Apple and Google. Because you only need 3,000 or 4,000. It doesn't matter what the price of the stock is. You're covered on the spread because you pick the difference in strike prices, and that's how much you have to put up. So this would require $3,000 cash in my account because the capital required is $3. That's the difference in the spread times the number of option contracts, which in our example will be 10 contracts. So the spread between the puts needs to give us a 5% return. That's the other thing. You have to look at these prices. If I'm selling one put, I'm buying a lower strike price put for less money, how much do I need for net credit to equal 5%? That would be the same as a net credit of $150. I just answered the question for you. Is the difference between the put you sell and the put you buy that leaves you with a net credit of $150. Now, I know that doesn't sound like a lot, $150, but stay with me here. So you find a spread that will net you a difference of 15 cents is what you're looking at. So you'd be basically like selling one at 65 and buying one at 50, or anywhere you get a 15-cent difference between the price you get for the put you sell and the price you pay for the lower strike price put that you buy. You're only looking for 15 cents now. Of course, you can widen the spread or lower the spread depending upon your risk tolerance. You can use a $5 spread instead of a $3 spread, and you can go deeper out of the money for even less risk. So you're in control 100% when you do this. Okay, so that's the number one way to profit with weekly options. You put that spread on, you let it expire worthless, and we've gone through that. So the next way that I do this is almost identical to what we just went over. The only difference is we'll use call options instead of put options. And instead of creating a spread below the stock's price, we'll create one using calls above the stock's price. So when we're doing the spread with the puts, we want to be doing this on bullish flat or bullish stocks. When we're doing this using calls, we want to use this on stocks that are flat to downtrending. And this is why I say you can use this regardless of market conditions. You can take and turn and twist these weekly options to fit what is happening in the market. And this way, it doesn't matter what happens in the market. It doesn't matter if it's going up or down, or most stocks are going up or most stocks are going down. You can still make weekly income. There's nothing that can happen in the market that could prevent you from making a weekly income. So the same principles and concepts apply here. The only difference, like I say, is we'll sell a call at a price that is higher than the stock price and is at a price higher than the stock is likely to get to in the next 7 days. And at the same time, we'll buy a higher strike price call as a hedge. That'll cost us less money, the net credit we'll have would be the difference. So the difference between the amount we receive for the call we sell and the amount we pay for the call we buy would be our net credit using calls. The credit spread can be applied to a stock using puts, like I showed you. It can be used with calls, like we just talked about here. And you can even do both at the same time. So if you did one using puts that cost you $3,000 and you had another $3,000, you could use the same strategy, create a net credit using calls. I would just take another $3,000 or $4,000 or however much more you would want depending upon the spread on that stock. But the main thing is, with the market the way it is, it's much easier when you're getting started just to find stocks that are flat or slightly rising and apply what we would call the bull put spread. You'd be using puts. That's the easiest way to do it. But you can use calls or even both at the same time. So let's review. My weekly options trading system works because it's built on three core truths about options. 77% of all options expire worthless. Options expire worthless because of time decay. Time decay occurs most in the last week of options expiration. And it's based on selling weekly options to take advantage of this time decay and putting the probability on your side because it's based on the underlying trend of the stock, and that's already in a bull trend when you find it. The main money-making strategies are the two I showed you here, where I'm using nothing but options to create weekly income. There are a handful of strategies I use, and all except one are based on these options to create weekly income. The other is for those rare times when you would buy a weekly put or a weekly call option. That's the main system. It's based on putting time decay on your side with weekly options. Plus, I use weekly options for covered calls and sometimes buy puts or calls. So what else do you need to know here? I believe I've given you a good understanding of my options trading system. But there are literally thousands of little things you would still need to know to go from this understanding and implementation to be able to put together your own weekly options trades. Like picking the right underlying stocks with available weekly options, finding the appropriate option, deciding where to get in, and managing your spread once you're in. And how to go long term with this to build a multi-million-dollar retirement account, and so on and so on. All of those details are what I cover in my personal training. And I usually charge between $4,000 and $5,000 per person. But those types of prices would defeat the purpose of this weekly options trading system. And the purpose of this system is to help the average guy, the little guy, and anyone else who needs an edge in today's stock market. So I'm going to make my system affordable for everyone. I've given a great deal of thought to how I should make this all available and what I should charge for providing it. When I hand you all the material I share and discuss in those one-time only offers, you'll have all the nitty-gritty inside information to make an income for life. You'll know exactly what to do to scan the market for quality stocks and know how to look at options quickly to find a great trade. You'll know all the detailed secrets to create weekly income. You'll know how to build a huge income, a stable fortune, and a massive retirement account, and you can do this in your spare time. For obvious reasons, though, I'm not about to give all the details to every Tom, Dick, and Mary for nickels and dimes. And as you know, I'm very accustomed to being very well paid for my knowledge. So I'm going to charge you a solid price, but I promise you it will be a lot less than the $100,000 in losses you'll rack up while trying and failing, painfully separating what works from what doesn't. But first, let me describe the weekly options profit system package that I have built for you. Here's the basic system package. You get 6 weekly options profits trader training modules. These modules cover everything from the nuts and bolts of options to the detailed secrets you need to know to build weekly income. The first thing I teach you is all about the stock picking part. I go into great detail on that because, like I say, if you get that part right, you'll flat out kill it with weekly options. Plus, every strategy I use to profit from weekly options is covered in detail in the system. I also include a special module that reveals the only way to bulletproof yourself on every trade you make. This is really amazing. I'm sure you'll love it, and the more volatile the market is, the more you can sleep comfortably at night with this bulletproof strategy. This is perfect for today's market because it protects you no matter what. So each of the 6 modules consists of a printed handout in PDF format. You can get it online, and I print it out. And it has a video training for each module as well. In the videos, you will meet me at your computer and look over my shoulder as I go online, analyze the stocks, then check the weekly options quotes to find a great trade. I've got the videos all laid out so you can follow me step by step, go to the same sites I do, everything. Each trader training video also goes over the step-by-step process I use to execute each strategy. These videos show you exactly how to do each strategy simply and easily. In fact, when you watch these trader training videos, you'll learn faster and more effectively because you'll see it happen in the real world, and you can go to the same website I do and do the exact same thing. And I realize there may be some rough spots in your understanding and some places where you might need a little hand holding or for me to further elaborate on one point you don't get. I'm not going to leave you hanging out there. So you get unlimited email support with this system. I understand options can be confusing. I understand what I just went through can be over some people's head, but regardless, I want you to get this down pat so you can go start making your own trades. So I give you unlimited email support with this. Plus, you also get instant access to this members internet portal where you'll get the entire course and all the training online. Let me tell you about this members internet portal you get with the system. It's private and it's password protected, but there are no monthly membership fees. There are no fees of any kind. It's not free, but it's free when you buy the system. This internet portal holds all the training material in an easy to navigate format, and you get access to the weekly options trading system members portal free for life. You know, I've given this a lot of thought. A lot of people say I'm crazy for doing this, but this is how it's going to be. I really want this system to change your life. I really want you to see some financial gain from this. So this is not a fad. It's not going to go out of style. When you buy the system, you're going to get access to the members site, the members portal, free for life. You can even download and save all the training modules to your computer so you can have access to them on your computer even when you're offline. Okay? So you won't have to just get it from the members portal. There'll be updates there and stuff, but the basic training, you'll have access to that even when you're offline. Plus, to make this even better, I'm going to send you the entire weekly options profit system home study package by priority mail. This way, the system is set up. The way I have it set up now, you can learn it and start making profit-rich weekly options trades in less than 24 hours. And remember, you got unlimited email support. You get priority mail of the system. You get the members internet portal free for life with all the video training and all the handouts. It'd be very difficult to fail after you've gone through this program. So that's the basic system. Or if you prefer, there's a deluxe package. It includes everything in the basic system, plus you also get 4 weeks of live weekly options Friday trader trading. We're going to go online, we're going to look at some stocks, we're going to find some great spreads, we're going to just polish up and refine your understanding of it with this live training, which is great because, you know, unlike messing around with stocks and stuff like this, this is so easy to plan your time and your efforts around. You just get on there Wednesday, you put your trades on Wednesday, you sleep well, have fun over the weekend, wake up on Monday, you're already in the chips, and it just gets better as the week goes on. So if you want extra training, you're going to want the deluxe package with 4 weeks of live weekly options Friday trainer training. And if you prefer to go all the way, I've got a VIP package that includes everything in the basic and deluxe system. Plus, you get weekly options, stock, and options picks for 1 year. That's right. We've got this advisory service built in every week. We'll give you the weekly option stocks and specific options picks for 1 year. This is the fastest and easiest way to get going because we do all the hard work and spoon feed you the cream of the crop, weekly stock and options picks. Okay, so now on to the prices. Your investment for everything in the weekly options profits basic system package is just $697, $1,197 for the deluxe package, or $1,797 for the VIP package. But I'm going to let everyone here get my system for much less than that. So if you act quickly, here's what we've arranged for you. If you decide to go with the basic system package, I want to thank you for being a customer and for being serious enough to attend this webinar. So to help you get started, and even though my marketing advisors think I'm nuts for doing this, if you enroll today, right away, I'll give you a good customer discount of $100, reducing your total out-of-pocket cost to only $597 for the basic system package. And if you decide to get the deluxe system package, I'll double your good customer discount to $200, making the total cost for the deluxe system package only $997. And if you decide to go all the way and go VIP, I'll give you a good customer discount of $300, making the total cost of the VIP package just $1,497. This is a great deal for everyone because you can easily make that investment back and more on your very first trade. I mean, you saw in my example, just with $3,000, you can make $620. So you can get all the money you made back from your investment in this course very quickly. In my video, you saw a real example, like I say, that made $620 in 1 week, and that was with only $3,000, not $4,000. So if you invest in my system and you make just a few small trading profits, you would easily make several hundred times the cost of the system in pure profits in just weeks. And since this system will be good from now on because it's based on 3 core truths about options, you can use this to create income for life. That makes your investment in this trading system the best investment you will ever make. Okay, so now let's go to the question and answer session. There's a place there for you to send me an email, and we're going to gather some questions like we've been doing already since the start. So send those over to me now, and we'll go over them. So, okay, you're getting that together. Let's go over some of the most common questions first. So why is this a low-risk way to trade? That's a good question. It's low risk because we're actually not betting on the stock rising. We've got 2 out of 3 possible outcomes of the stock that work in our favor. Remember, when we buy a stock, it can only go up, go down, or stay the same. And in normal trade investing, if you buy a stock and it goes down or stays flat, you're losing money or time or both. So the only way you win with regular stocks is in 1 out of 3 outcomes, and the way you win with this system is in 2 out of 3 outcomes. So that makes it low risk. It's also low risk because we're using options, just the time decay factor that greatly lowers your risk, and the probability of the stock continuing in its trend, that also lessens your risk. That's a good question. Okay, is this a fad or will I be able to do it long term? You'll be able to do this long term. The options market has been around for a long time. These new weekly options are just a new product of the CBOE. They're going to be around a long time also. The other reason it's not a fad is, like I say, We could do this on stocks that are rising. We can do this on stocks that are going down. So no matter what is happening with the market, you'll be able to make this work long term. Will it work in any market conditions? Yes, it will. Just like for the reasons I said, you get to whatever the market conditions are you get to decide if you're going to play it with puts or you're going to do it with calls, depending upon what those market conditions are. So it doesn't matter if the market's going up or the individual stocks going up. Remember, we're just going to look at these stocks with weekly options, and it only matters what are they doing, and then we'll put on the appropriate trade. But any market conditions, this will work in. How much money should I start with? Well, I get this question a lot, and I tell people to start with an amount that they feel comfortable with that's risk money to them. Uh, and that's different for everybody. So depending upon your understanding of this and how confident you are with your own abilities and how much money you're trading, then it would be different with everybody. But, if you wanted to test it out and see real measurable results, you can get started with just $3,000. How much time does it take to learn it all and get rolling? That's another good question. It's going to depend a little bit about your 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 prior knowledge or existing knowledge of options. Although I would hope you didn't have any options experience and just let me teach it to you from the beginning. But going through all 6 of these modules probably take you about an hour or so. Actually, it'd take you a couple hours. So you could probably get up and running in just a couple days. You'd probably want to go through this a few times, watch each of the 6 videos, read each of the 6 module handouts that went with that training, and you can get up and running in about a day. Even in the same day you're learning it, you might just have that aha moment and it all goes off, and you can start the same day you get the system. Otherwise, you might want to ask a few questions and watch it happen a few times on Fridays, and then ease yourself into it. But it'd probably take you about a day to learn it and a day to get rolling. So how can your product help me achieve weekly income? Well, this is what this is all designed about. It's designed on weekly calls, which expire every week, and we're using these strategies to set ourselves up for income every week. It's not a monthly thing. It's not day trading. It's not buy and hold. It's simply finding the stocks, applying the appropriate option strategies, using the weekly options that expire every week and create our weekly income. Sometimes I think options are just too hard or complex. Will that be the case with your system? No, that won't be the case. I've got one special section just on options, the nuts and bolts of options. This has been the easiest way for people to understand it. So we go from there into the stock part, and when you see that transition, then it'll all make sense for you. And when you see my examples, which there are plenty of, it'll also make sense for you too. But if it doesn't, you have unlimited email support. So we'll make sure that you get it, that you understand it, and you're off and flying. What kind of results can I expect? Well, that's too difficult for me to say because everybody's going to do this different. You can get to decide what kind of a goal you're after for that week, be it 2% or 10% or 15% or 5%. So I can't say that you'll have any results, and I couldn't tell you what kind of results you can expect. But I think based on what you saw here, where we're looking, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 8% for 1 week, you can lower that risk and still see some good results. So that would totally be up to you and your abilities. Do you guarantee I'll make money with your system? Do I guarantee you'll make money with my system? No, I don't guarantee that. Let me explain this. I can't guarantee that you'll make money with my system. I don't have any control over you or your abilities or knowledge, so it's impossible for me to guarantee you'll make money. I've bought other options products and they haven't worked for me. How will I know your product won't be another letdown? Well, that's a good question. I think it won't be another letdown because it's something that I do myself. It's not something, like I say, that was just made up or back tested on a computer or somebody did it without real money on the line. This is something that's pretty easy to understand once you get If you already understand options or you don't, we'll make sure that you do. But once you get past that, the stock picking part gets a lot easier. I put a lot of emphasis on that. And then, like I say, you've got the videos, which are tremendous training um, tools, and you've got the handouts, and you've got the unlimited email support. So we won't let you down. That's how you'll know it won't be another letdown. We won't let you down. I'm somewhat of a newbie with options. What kind of support can I expect to get from you, especially in the beginning? Well, you can get a lot of support from us, unlimited email support, but it's really important that you watch those videos, and especially with the options part, is it's especially important for you to read that nuts and bolts section that I've already put together for you. That's in the basic system, which also comes in the deluxe and VIP. So you can expect to get that support. We're going to, we can't get anywhere if you don't understand the options, if you're a newbie to options. Don't worry about it. If you're a newbie to options, don't worry about it. We're going to train you. You'll understand it, because if you don't, we can't move forward. So you can expect a lot of support, especially in the beginning, or really anytime you need it. But if you're a newbie with options, don't worry about it. This is very easy for you to learn. Do you offer a money-back guarantee? This is a great question. I can't do it. That's the answer. I cannot give you a money-back guarantee, because once my trading system is out, then it's out. I can't erase the secrets from your mind that you learned about, and I can't erase it from your computer. So please understand, I'm only sharing this trading system and training and devoting my time to people who are serious. And I'm not about to send this to someone who wants to save a copy of everything to their computer and then send it all back for a refund. So if you're that type of a person, then this is not for you. And if you have any qualms about me, my methods, or my ability to deliver, you should definitely pass on this offer. Now listen, if you do exactly what I teach you to do without second guessing me, this weekly options trading system will change your life. The second thing you need to know is, because of the level of customer support and training involved, I can only allow 23 people to buy the system at this time. I'd like to take on more, but right now we can only take on 23 people at this time to buy the system. After that, it will be closed so I can focus on helping people make their own weekly options profits. It's very important to me that you get up and running with this, so we're going to bend over backwards and make sure you understand it and you can apply it, and there's nothing in your way. The weekly options profit system that I've put together here is the quickest and easiest way for you to start making weekly options income. So thank you so much for showing up and staying with me on this webinar. I hope you learned some things and you're ready to get started. I have a free bonus for you for staying with me to the end of this. I know that I gave you the one free bonus with the discounts on all the courses, but I also want to give you another one. It's my latest book. It's easy to get. Just call my private voicemail 24 hours a day and leave your name and address. The phone number to call is 303-546-2828 for my 24-hour free recorded message. So what I would like you to do now is decide which weekly options profit system package you want. The basic package with 6 trader training modules, lifetime access to the members' internet portal, unlimited email support, and the Priority Mail Home Study course for only $5.97. The deluxe package, everything in the basic system, plus 4 live weekly options Friday trainer training sessions for only $9.97. Or the VIP package, everything in the basic and deluxe system packages, plus 1 year of weekly options, stock and options picks for only $14.97. So order now, pick out which one you want, order now, have your credit card ready, and click on the Order Now button for instant access now. I'd like you to click on the order button now that you see and order your system package. As soon as we receive your order, you will get instant access to the entire system online, plus we'll send you the entire system by priority mail, so you'll have it at home too. So order now, have your credit card ready, and click on the Order Now button for instant access now and get your package, and let's get started making weekly options profits.